And this thing really boils down to either we find more revenue or we make cuts. My philosophy was this year, either we find a source of additional revenue to make up that difference, or we got to start making cuts to close that. And I don't think you should wait till the last minute. I think you need to manage that closure as best you can over the next 2 years. A further complication is we don't want to take our rainy day fund to zero. And so you could argue what is an appropriate rainy day fund, and one in which, say, you use for emergencies, and if you have to dip into it 1 year because revenues have a shortfall for some reason, you got to pay it back in the following year, so that kind of thing. But you do have some place you can go to get some revenue on an emergency basis. Our philosophy has been for the last 10 years that priority spending goes to public safety first, which is not just the sheriff, it's the jails, the sheriff, community justice, the attorney general. Those are the things we're responsible for. Second is public health. We're required by law to have a public health officer and support public health as a county. That's number 2 priority. Third priority is essential county services. These are things like recording, assessor. You got to have a certain structure to have a county. And then the fourth structure is county operations that are not essential, but if they can support themselves and break even as a unit, then they can continue to be supported. And that would be like the airport. Frankly, a real good job has been done by roads and parks, especially the park side, which used to use county general fund money, and we said, we're either going to close the parks or they break even, and they put them on a business basis, and they actually make a little money, so that's good. The one that's the problem here is the county fair, and we approved a budget for the year, but we only authorized 3 months, and we said it's kind of either you make it and prove after the fair you got enough funds to run for the rest of the year. The big issue is the library. I'll take that on first. And we felt it was only fair to give the library notice again that they were going to be out of funds. So what we voted for, and I think it was unanimous finally, is that they have one more year, year 13, 14, to operate, to give them time to see if they want to go to the voters, find some other way to support the library system. It wasn't a vote against 4-H's. It came out in the paper. It was a vote against the extension service. We don't have the revenue. And it's like libraries. Nobody's against libraries. I like libraries. Nobody's against the 4-H, but we don't have the revenue. That's what people forget. I guess my background in business is that I've had to make cuts, and I've had to make some really hard ones. And so it isn't that you're calloused, you're just, facts are facts, and you got to make the decision, and you got to do what's best for the overall county. And when we set the priorities early on, we knew this day was coming, and these kind of cuts would have to be made, and that's why we set priorities. And we said we're going to take it and run the rest of the county with sustainable funding, which is basically our property tax. And we still have a problem. If we took all these cuts, made it all happen, and we balanced our budget, got it down to roughly 37 million, which works with the revenue this coming year that we have. Keep in mind, historically, our costs have gone up 7.5%. I think PERS is probably going to go up again. You know, I don't see any way, but it seems to want to go up. Well, that's another cost that goes into public safety. Healthcare keeps going up, and we're not immune from healthcare costs, and they go up. So you add the drivers in this economy that everybody's looking at, the county is looking at the same cost drivers. I don't see much, I don't see a lot of optimism on the horizon for a big bunch of money unless the taxpayers decide they want to fund more of the county functions, which I don't think they do. Most of the votes have gone down. Or the federal government seems to say we do have a responsibility when we own 50% of the county and we don't pay any property taxes. Maybe we ought to be paying a certain amount of money to the local government entities to support their activities. I've been impressed with all the county commissioners that I've worked with. I really have been. And the lay members on the committee are very serious. And everybody takes this very seriously. All I can say is most of those votes were hard for everybody.